So, last Sunday, the Xbox Game Showcase, we saw the announcement of a brand new Doom game. It was called Doom: The Dark Ages. Now, I'm sure you're already aware of this, but I think it's time that we really talk a bit more in depth about the potential that this game shows us, and some of the possible downsides that come along with it. So, let's begin. First things first. In terms of the enemies, I really like what we've seen. The returning enemies we've seen so far look great. I really am fond of the way that we get to see the demons before the UAC started experimenting on them, you know, in their original forms. We clearly see this with monsters such as the Mancubi, the Revenants, and my favourite of all, the Arachnotron. There's also the possibility that these floating things in the background are the Kako demons, however, I really hope they aren't. I just want our big meatball bros to show back up again. We also see a couple of new enemies. One of the more interesting ones here is the spider jockey from Minecraft. Honestly, I'm really interested to see how this enemy works, and this big guy here gives me the impression that he might function like the gladiator. Maybe this could even be one of the boss fights. I mean, it would make sense. Speaking of the boss fights in the game, I am really excited to see what this game's boss fights look like, as I think there really is a lot of potential for new and interesting bosses in the setting like this. You know, bosses that aren't just a reskin to the Marauder, cough cough, Dark Lord. I'd like to make a correction to what I said in my last video, because I did make a mistake there. I said that we were most likely not going to be exploring any UAC facilities, however upon further inspection I realised that was pretty stupid to say. As we can clearly see in this part of the trailer, we are most likely at a UAC facility on Mars, as this does look a lot like what we've seen in Doom 2016. And I think making a return to that kind of environment would actually excite people quite a lot. I'm just wondering how they'd weave that into the story of a prequel game.
Carefully release the hinges.
I'm gonna do my own thing.
Something I'd also love to see in this game would be a return to Taras Nabad, as Hayden does explain in Doom Eternal that this is where the Slayer had his first battle.
Your first battle against the demons in this world, where the legend of the Slayer began.
Maybe we could even take a journey to Argentanur from Doom 2016 and see what the place looked like before it was taken over by the demons. And I think it would be really interesting to see something like the takeover of Argentanur in-game. I genuinely cannot wait to see the environments that'll be present in this game, and I just hope that my PC is capable of running it. I'm also hoping that we get to explore a lot more of what Urdak has to offer, as in Doom Eternal I was pretty disappointed that we didn't get to explore more of it. On the general gameplay side of things, I'm still not completely hooked. Upon coming down from the excitement of seeing a new Doom game getting announced, I got a little bit more time to think about how the game would actually play, and I really think this is something that I'm not too sure about yet. I need to see an actual gameplay reveal to know if I like this. The weapons we see are pretty good. Some familiar ones, and some that honestly give me quite a Quake vibe, like this one with the skulls here. There's also the new shield mechanic, which again I'm a bit skeptical of. I'm not sure if this is going to make for a great gameplay mechanic or just slow the game down too much. They did say this game was going to be a lot slower than Doom Eternal, but I'm not sure if this is going to be taking it too far. However, throwing the shield like Captain America is honestly really cool. The idea of controlling the mech is honestly an amazing one, and I really think it's a brilliant fan service tool to get fans excited for the game, because I don't know about you, but giant robots are very, very cool. And I did always want to pilot one whenever I saw them in Doom Eternal, much like everybody else did. The dragon idea is pretty cool too, but I am hoping that this is more so something that just takes up one level rather than being a continuous gameplay mechanic. I'd prefer that if it took notes from Titanfall 2 and just had the gimmicks last for a single level so they don't get old. Because of course that's not why you play Doom. You go to play Doom so you get some cool first person shooting action. The same applies to the mechs, by the way. Despite that, I'm very excited to see how they'd handle combat in flight. I wonder if they'd do something a bit similar to what Halo Reach did when you got to fly the sabers around. There's just so much possibility of what they can do. Although I may have sounded pretty negative throughout this video, I want to assure you, I am far from unhappy with this. I'm actually very excited and intrigued to find out more about the next entry in the Doom series. It is a risky take on a Doom series, I'll admit that, but I have faith in id Software that they'll be able to pull this off. I was at first very skeptical, but upon seeing the trailers, I think they could make it work. Aside from that, if you want a bit more content from myself, you can watch the video appearing right here in the corner.